What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the Going for Three podcast. This is episode 31. My name is PTP, but you can also call me Percy. And as always, I have the AOB, the advocator of buckets, Chris Collins. How we doing today?
Going on, man? How you been? How you been?
Yeah, I've been chilling, just waiting for the season to start.
Feel that, man. It's gonna be great. I have high expectations for this season. I have narratives I need to be pushed, and I need buckets that I need to be gotten.
Hey, can't be a season without buckets.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and following along with the theme that we had from our previous episode, this is a division breakdown for pretty much all the NBA teams going into next season. And this week we have the Central Division and the Southwest Division.
Yes.
Yes, and we're starting it off with the so what?
Central. Yeah. Let's hit Central first.
Yeah. So what team would you like to start with?
It's on you, man. It's on you. It's on you. Yeah, especially since this is your division. I would say so. I give you the honors.
Let's see.
We can do alphabetical order. So that'd be the
the Bulls first,
Bucks?
I think.
Nah, Bucks would be first.
Oh, yeah, Bucks in. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it depends on if you go by the city or the team. If you go by the team, then Bucks is first.
Yeah.
We
can probably start with the Bucks first. They probably
right.
did the least out of all the teams from what I'm looking at. So.
Yeah, arguably.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like as far as like who they lost. I mean, they lost Rajon Tucker, but I don't think he really played, so doesn't really change much. But
yeah,
they pretty much kept everything and added in a couple of new faces.
Yeah, I mean they like you said, they re-signed a bunch of their veteran faces. They re-signed Connaughton, Matthews, Bobby Portis, with Bobby getting a pretty decent sized deal, 4 years, $49 million. Re-signed Serge, although he didn't play as much as I thought or wanted him to play or have as much impact as I thought he would, but still, they re-signed him. They also signed Joe Ingles.
Pretty good veteran.
I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, he's definitely a veteran. He's had his moments. I think he's a little older and probably past the point to where he can really contribute. But we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. I'm not really too sure about it though. But yeah, like you said, they really didn't. Oh yeah, and re-signed Javon Carter as well. But yeah, like you said, they really didn't do anything too much, too crazy to shake it up. And I think, rightfully so. I mean, when they're healthy, they won the championship, so that's probably their mindset.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they're thinking about. Because I remember seeing that Chris Middleton is still recovering from his injury from last season, so probably definitely looking forward to mainly bringing him back into the fold. Giannis was working very hard in the offseason, was going crazy in the FIBA league or the FIBA tourney from the summer. Astronomical numbers, I think. You think he had like a couple 40-point games, a couple 50s or something like that?
Oh yeah, no, the Greek freak was how do you say freaking?
Yeah, he was freaking all over the court.
That's the social media clip right there, man. Hey, Freaky was freaking all over the place, man.
Hey, so it's like, you already know what you're gonna get from him. Like you said, as long as the core four at this point, because Brook Lopez is definitely one of the more underrated pieces of that team. As far as teams don't really go at him that much, they respect him enough on that interior, along with Giannis, to pose that much of a threat. But even though their rookies might not be like that big of a focal point, because I don't think Beauchamp plays that much. Like long term, I feel like him and Green would be good.
Just for clarification, who did they draft?
So it's Marjon Beauchamp from G League Ignite. I'm trying to figure out what his game would kind of be like akin to. I know he's like a slashing player more or less, where he plays within the arc. But
yeah, he's got some good athleticism, versatility at the wing. I would kind of classify him as kind of like a versatile wing with like potential.
Yeah. Then it's like, because like with him to play defensively, he'll be solid.
Yeah, I just never thought. I mean, honestly, I thought they were going to trade the pick just because at that position, I never really thought that they were going to be able to get anybody that's going to be ready to contribute immediately. And I mean, that still kind of holds true. I mean, although this Beauchamp has potential, like you said, we don't really anticipate him playing a whole lot of minutes, especially significant minutes, come playoff time. But I mean, they decided to go draft him, and we'll see where his development goes.
Yeah, and but I mean, ironically, when I looked at kind of like how their UDFA's were going,
Mm-hmm.
not UDF or UDAs pretty much, the AJ Green signing probably might not be as important to most people, but ironically, he was one of the guys that I kind of scouted when we were doing like our pre-draft scouting from a couple of months back, and with a team like the Bucks, depending on like what their future makeup looks like, I feel like his shooting ability long term is something that they're probably invested in. So, and who knows, it might even happen because like Jordan Nwora kind of had a similar path to like rotational minutes because he didn't play that much his first couple seasons either. So
Yeah, I mean, it'll be kind of interesting to see if he can kind of feel even like a similar role to like how Bryn Forbes was when he was there, you know, just as far as like the shooting, kind of like that guard, that off guard potentially. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, but
I mean, when we talk about the Bucks,
yeah,
um, a lot of people have been ready to crown Giannis and the Bucks, like as like the reigners or like the kings of the East.
yeah,
And last year, they go 7 games with the Eastern Conference champs, obviously without Chris Middleton. But what do you think? What's your outlook for this team going into this year, for like Bucks wise?
um. I feel like, as always, like when they're healthy, they're definitely like one of the more competitive teams in the conference. But even at times last season, they still do have tendencies of like they kind of take their foot off the gas, or when they're in positions to lock up the top seed within like at least the past maybe 2 seasons, or at least last year, they kind of get a little bit stagnant. And with a conference like the Eastern Conference that there's a division in itself that probably has 4 contenders waiting in it right now. So they're probably still. I think last year they were like top 4 or top 5. I think.
I think they were the 3 seed. I want to say.
Yeah.
I think the Bucks were able to get that 2 seed, or not the Bucks. The Celtics were able to get that 2 seed at the last minute. I think. Let me check to be sure though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so last year, they were the 3 seed, but they had the same record as the Celtics. They were both 51-31, but the Celtics had that tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Well, actually, seeds 2 through 4 all had the same record. So the Celtics, the Bucks, and the Sixers all were 51-31.
Yeah, because they were definitely cutting it close last season.
Yeah,
Which.
and even the Heat with the first overall seed were only 2 games ahead of the Celtics. Well, 2 games ahead of basically 2 through 4. So yeah, it was definitely tight up top for sure.
Yeah, and it's like reflecting on stuff like that, it makes you kind of think that, of course, team construction wise, Giannis, Chris Middleton, when not healthy, they're a great team. But as far as production wise, and like you said, like how close it was cut down the stretch, as far as Miami only by 2 games, Celtics, Sixers, a lot of teams are even getting better, and then the Nets are, if they're fully stacked, you gotta expect them to be top 4 as well. So it's probably more about their focus rather than their talent. Like if they got their foot on the gas from day one to get back to where they were 2 seasons ago, then they should be definitely favorites.
I mean, but I also think that, for a team such as the Bucks who have won a championship, they're not really worried about the regular season anymore, in my opinion. It's just what it is. I feel like they feel confident that they can go into any arena, especially in the East, in my opinion, and kind of win on the road. I mean, I don't think there's any reason why they shouldn't feel that way, especially if they're going to be healthy. So it's one of those things where, like, yeah, they got lapses of focus throughout the season, but I mean, when come playoff time, I mean, they're one of those teams that are going to be able to turn it on for my opinion, two reasons. So I mean, one, like I said, they've won a championship, and two, this team has been together. This core has been together for what? This will be. This will be 3 years with Drew Holiday, but this will be like 4 or 5 with Giannis, Chris, Brooke. You know,
Yeah, that's been good
Pat
core
Connaughton.
for the outlook of like the past couple
Yeah, like
seasons.
yeah, they've been together, playing together for a long time now at this point, especially like the way the NBA is now, where the landscape changes so often, so much. Like major key players are shifting teams so much.
Yeah,
To where like having that continuity and being competitive, having that continuity matters for sure. You know, so
yeah, that is something they do have an advantage over. As far as every off season, they kind of, like you said, like they keep that nucleus together, or at least if they do have to replace a certain player, they keep that type of player type in mind. So that does give them that extra edge. And yeah, if they do have like that autopilot factor when it comes to the regular season, which I think last season, I think analysts were hinting at that more or less, because there were certain games where you could tell they took a break, or you could tell they might not have taken it as seriously because they knew that their seeding was going to be high. But
and I think if Giannis wins it next year, it's Giannis's league until knocked off otherwise. This is how I feel.
yeah,
That's how I feel.
yeah. Which in a way, I mean, yeah, like when it comes to him, it's like he's always on go. So
I
that's
mean, I
probably the
think
reason why
he's the
they never
best player in
really,
the league.
yeah,
You
like
know, I think it's kind of weird that he hasn't really gotten the benefit of the doubt, having his second best player hurt and taking the eventual Eastern Conference champions to 7 games without his second best player. I think that's kind of people weren't really talking about it as much as I thought they should have. You know, it's kind of weird. Like any other situation that happens, it's just like it'll be brought up a lot, and obviously the other team wouldn't win. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. They kind
without
of give
Andrew
they kind of give
Wiggins.
Jokic that leeway, as far as when Jokic was playing without Murray and Porter. They gave him the acknowledgement of like, okay, Jokic put up a fight without his guys, but Middleton is probably, I'd say, more important in the grand scheme of things to the Bucks as far as closing than Murray and Porter might have been to the Nuggets as a whole.
I mean, I wouldn't. I don't know if I would say. I think they're both equally as important to the. I mean, I don't know when you're the second best player on the team. I mean, I feel like there's not much maneuverability as to how important you are. Like you're that important. You're the second best player on the team.
Yeah,
And I feel like if you're the second best player on the team, in most cases, if it's a championship contending team, you are either a star player, or you are a star player, and a lot of times. Sometimes, well, yeah, there are times where you're the best player on the court for your team. That's just how I feel. I mean, I don't really think there's not too many teams that are able to win in today's league with your second best player not being a star player.
yeah,
And I know maybe people might want to point to the Warriors, but I mean, Andrew Wiggins was an all-star starter for one, and two, he was hooping. He was playing like an all-star in the playoffs. All-star level offense and defense, and they also still had Clay, Jordan Poole, so
yeah.
yeah.
But if anything, let's get into a team that the Bucks ran into in the playoffs last season, being the Chicago Bulls.
Ran into him and ran right through him.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a rough end to their season because they had Lonzo Ball with the knee tendonitis. Still not sure what's going on with his situation. I think they said he's getting like fluid removed.
Yeah, I hope he. I'm not really sure the situation is. I don't know. It's lingering much longer than, well, quite frankly, everybody had thought it would.
Yeah,
I think he was quoted basically saying that he, just simple tasks like walking up the stairs and things like that, makes him feel pain. So that's not something that you ever want to hear. So we're definitely wishing Lonzo a speedy recovery. I'm not really sure the timeline either. So
Yeah, not even just for basketball, just like you said, like regular, just day to day things. Like walking and running should be one of the more easier things to accomplish. But yeah, he definitely is.
especially for like a 25-year-old, 24, 25-year-old.
Yeah. So
So yeah, I mean, and also like he may not be one of the top two scorers on the team, but he's a focal point for that team. I mean, in my opinion, on both sides of the ball. I mean, defensively, definitely, probably, you could make the case he is the best perimeter defender. I mean, between him and Caruso, but he's definitely one of the better perimeter defenders on the team,
yeah,
without a doubt. And then having to be able to initiate the offense, but also play off ball. We've seen the work that Lonzo Ball's put into his shot. I mean, at this point, he's become a knockdown 3-point shooter. He like
change his form and everything.
Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate at this point to call him a knockdown 3-point shooter. I mean, I don't think that's out of the question. I mean, he shot 37% or better from the three the past 3 seasons on some pretty high volume. 6 attempts, 8 attempts, 7 attempts. That's a high volume to be shooting that percentage. So like, yeah, that's something that they miss for sure.
Yeah, and as far as like probably like think that they lost. I mean, Troy Brown Jr. I think he did play like rotational minutes in the beginning, but I'm not sure how he played down the stretch for them. But yeah, then they had like Tristan Thompson, like not really variables to me at least, but
yeah, I didn't think that was a very impactful addition anyway.
Yeah. And then as far as like what they gained during the offseason, I mean, they got Costas, or I don't know if it's Costas or Costas. I've never really been sure. They got Antetokounmpo, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brought in Goran Dragic, a veteran for the PG position, which I mean, I kind of understand why, because like you said, like with the Lonzo situation, maybe not a player exactly like Lonzo, but you want to at least have guard depth. And to get a veteran to that extent, I feel like that goes a long way for them in the waiting process.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Gordon can still play it for sure. So a steady hand at that position, steady vet, I think is a good addition for them. And then Andre Drummond
surprisingly did some good shooting.
I mean, Drummond has always had like the ability. I mean, he's just there's times that he thinks he's a point guard.
He gets carried away. Like I think the historical clip was when he was on the Cavs and he ISO'd, and he kind of did like his little spin twirl that he lost it. He has a lot of ability.
I mean, hey, I know that ain't the first ISO clip that you've seen for sure. I know it ain't. I know you probably seen the most of them.
Oh, he was. At some point, he was getting crazy in Detroit too.
Yeah. So I mean, but at the same point in time, he's still a big body, elite defender, or no, elite rebounder. Excuse me. And it still has athleticism to be competent defensively if he's able to like not make those same mental mistakes. But I mean, still, he's a big body that they need. That's what they need. I'm not saying that you can stick Andre Drummond in front of Embiid and Giannis and just say feel comfortable about it. But he's a big mobile body. You know what I mean? And that means something.
Gives more resistance than Vooch, more or less, on the interior.
Yeah, because defensively, Vooch is against those two. I don't really like the matchups. So
yeah.
Let's see who else. I mean, we didn't talk about the draft either, though. They drafted his name Dallin Terry. Yes, sir. Yeah.
I thought that was a great pick for them for the position that they had it, because with his size, I think he's like 6'7" or 6'6", plays defense, lanky, can shoot the ball. Pretty much, if they wanted to, he could probably fit in their rotation right now. If they really wanted somebody that resembles Lonzo.
Yeah. I just think I don't know. They're they're very guard heavy. Are they
Yeah, but
not?
it's like the
Like,
Sunmu, Dragic, Kobe still there,
yeah,
Caruso.
Kobe is still there. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about him, but you're right. He is still there. Like, they're heavy at guard, man.
Yeah, which I mean, it would be interesting to say if they were using all of them in some unique way, it wouldn't be seen as such a cluster. But it's like sometimes Kobe plays a bulk of the minutes, then it's like Caruso playing at the four because they don't have any bigs. Like they threw out a lot of different things, not really in good circumstances last season, just because of what they had
Yeah,
as far as roster construction.
and touching more to your point, just a little bit more. Like I think even more so because several of these players, in my opinion, are better than the roles that they are put in right now. Like I'm high on Kobe White. I mean, I think he had a pretty solid first two seasons in the NBA from just a standpoint of like what you want to see and what he can improve on.
Yeah,
And I mean, I think he made some great strides as far as improving from his first year to his second year, and then all of a sudden he gets relegated to the bench. And I mean, he still played decent enough. I mean, double digit scorer off the bench, still can shoot that three ball. But I mean, I think he came in with higher expectations for himself, and so did I. So I mean, I think he can do more. I think how do you pronounce his name? Do
oh, Desunmu.
Dusumo? Dusumu?
Yeah, Desunmu. Yeah.
Dusumu. I think he's better than his role is as well. I mean, he's younger, so like you can get away with it. But I don't know. I just think that they have too many guys at that position to be maximizing them. You know what I mean? So like I'm all about like maximizing the talent that the team has. So if you're not going to
Yeah.
maximize a player, you might as well move them for a piece that you can maximize. And they have holes at other positions.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know,
Because I feel like
like they.
mhm.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say because definitely off season wise, like bringing in like Andre Drummond, obviously it fills up your center position because at least you have some type of body that you can throw in when like play styles get a little bit tougher on Vooch, and Vooch really isn't like able to get back to the three as much. And then you get like Costas, who I'm not really. I mean, I'm pretty sure he would probably fit in their depth rotation if like it's like him,
I
Patrick
don't
Williams, or
know.
something like that.
He hasn't played significant minutes anywhere in his career, so I really don't know. I honestly don't know if he's. I mean, I don't want to sound like any type of way, but I don't know if he's good or not. I
Yeah,
really don't.
because like I mean, 'cause, like he's had
Like,
flashes from. Because I've seen a couple times where like he gets in the game. Like I think he played a little bit, played a little bit for the Lakers. I think he was in Dallas last year. I think.
yeah, he's 6'10", so he's got good size, but he's 6'10", 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Yo, yeah, yo, 6'10", 200 pounds.
Yeah, he's very light for his frame for sure. Very light
I
for the
can't remember
frame.
who we were talking about, but last episode, the last divisions we were talking about a guy that was 6'4", 200 pounds. Who was that? Is that Lonnie Walker?
Hey, yeah, Lonnie Walker
Like,
was
bro,
200 at 6'4".
yeah, bro, like, come on. He he not gonna be that big. He not gonna fit that big body that they want him to.
Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
don't know. I'm not. We'll see with him. I'm not. I mean, I would like for him to, prove me wrong, but like I said, I just don't know. He's been in a couple of stops. I didn't see too much from him when he played with the Lakers. So
yeah.
I mean, he's kind of been bouncing around. So I mean, that also kind of gives me kind of a cause to think that it's not that great of a situation. So we'll see.
Yeah, but just
They
like mhm.
but they do need uh that defensive prowess, I would say, at like that four position.
Yeah, because yeah, Patrick Williams, he's skilled, but he's undersized, and then like they also had him out with the injury issues and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I mean, I feel like the focal point for them probably is just making sure that they could at least have four of like a Caruso, Patrick Williams, Lonzo kind of pairing, well, kind of like trio, and then you want to at least try to keep like DeRozan and Levine happy because I know Levine just got the extension as well, along with Derrick Jones. So they're definitely thinking long term with this unit, but it's also just a lot of things up in the air as far as, well, do we get our point guard back? Who are our backups? So
I mean, depending on how this next year goes, it might be looking to blow it up before they even really get started. To be honest, just in my mind, I mean, DeMar is older, so
yeah,
you know, if they have another year or they have like a lackluster year, I can see them really kind of looking around and trying to blow it up and kind of rebuild already. Honestly,
yeah, and it should be interesting to see what they do, because I mean they started off hot last year. They were like, they were number one at some point,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
they were the number one seed for it wasn't early either. It was a decent mark in the season that they were like number one, and DeMar was getting like MVP conversations and things like that. But then they went on like just a bad losing like period where they weren't playing well, and they kind of remedied the ship a little bit. But like that was when they had like injuries to like Caruso and Lonzo, and yeah, it was.
yeah. I think Pat went down around that time as well, and they were.
I think what I think he went down first, and they kind of adjusted, and I feel like that's when they was playing like Caruso at the 3 and the 4 at times, and same thing with DeMar.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when they lost, I feel like when they lost Lonzo and Caruso, that's when it really like kind of was difficult.
Yeah, for sure. But as we just keep going down the line. A team that did something really, really interesting in the offseason, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yes, sir.
They made a splash going after D Mitch, teaming him up with their trio of players from last season, being Garland, Mobley, and Allen. So overall, they had a pretty. It's an interesting offseason on paper, and of course, like seeing some of the plays they made in the preseason. Obviously, the lob aspect of Garland and Allen, that's not going to change. I think Mobley's injured right now, from what I heard. I think.
I'm not sure. Is it something significant?
I don't think it was anything that was going to like keep him out for long, but I know he didn't play in. I think it's like the last or one of the 3 preseason games that they just had. He didn't play in them, or he didn't play in one of them. So, or any of them actually.
I mean, yeah, it could have just been as a precaution. I really didn't see anything that had like anything significant, so I couldn't really. What was this? Do you know what the injury was?
Might have to look it up now. Let's see what it possibly could have been. So apparently it was like an ankle sprain.
Was it just a regular one, or was it a high ankle sprain?
Just like a regular one. They said like he landed awkwardly on a teammate's foot, so it happened on like the 1st of October. So yeah, probably just a precautionary thing, just to make sure he's good for opening night. So I don't think it'll damage him too much.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably fine.
Yeah,
I'm not really worried about it.
But well, of course, like obviously people know they got rid of, they traded Markkanen and Sexton in that deal.
And Ochai as well. Notable.
And Mabaji as well. So as for their losses, I mean, Moses Brown, Ed Davis, Rondo. I think Rondo came in down the stretch when they had like guard. They were hampered at guard, I think, and he played pretty well for that period of time.
They traded for Rajon Rondo when Ricky Rubio got hurt for the year.
Yeah. And by all standards, Rubio was balling in the earlier stages until he got hurt. He was
playing very well. Playing very, very well in his role. And now a year later, I mean, I'm sure they expect him to come back and kind of reprise that role and continue to play well off the bench and be that second guard.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, bringing him back, they re-upped Garland as well. We're pretty sure at this point it's probably like their franchise PG, and for certain he should.
For sure. That's not it. Yeah, that's clear.
Yeah. And they also brought in Isaiah Mobley, which I don't know how impactful that is to rotational minutes, but he can't shoot.
That's a franchise player move. That's all that is. That's a
It's like a Thanasis
Michael
thing.
Porter Jr. Like that's a Michael Porter Jr. We like you, so we're gonna bring in Jonte. JR, we like you from the Nuggets. We're gonna bring in your brother. Giannis, we like you, so we're gonna bring in your brother. Type Klay Thompson, we're gonna bring in your brother. Give him a little tick, see if he's about anything. Blake Griffin, same thing. That's all it is. Although I will say that that Mobley is probably more of an NBA player than a lot of those other guys were. But even still, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they have a pretty solidified front court rotation to me right now. They might be able to fit another in there, but I mean, with Allen, Mobley, and then Love coming in off the bench, being that score stretch big. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of minutes for to go around for him, but I mean, and then also Robin Lopez as well coming off the bench. So I don't know.
He was a very good rebounder, so that's a very good acquisition for them as well, helping out with the rebounding count. They should probably really run the boards with those three. Well, I'll say before. I mean, Kevin Love ain't really the same snagger he was.
He can rebound.
He can rebound though.
He rebounds at a very. That was one of his things. He's one of his skills. He's a great rebounder, great timing, great body position, and things like that. So. Yeah. It may not be as much in the paint just with this role, him being more strictly a stretch big, but he can still get down there and rebound and post up if he need to be. So
yeah. But I guess I'll pose the question first. Where do you think the Cavs will be at ranking wise or standing wise?
Well, I mean, I feel like we kind of danced around it, but we really fully didn't say it. I mean, they traded for Donovan Mitchell. We really didn't say it. So they traded Lauri Mark, like you said, they traded the players that they traded, Lauri Markkanen, Sexton, Ochai, for Donovan Mitchell. Okay,
Spider,
one of them guys, Spider. Okay, this guy who has been the focal point for the Utah Jazz for 4 or 5 years, taking them to the playoffs. Not another 20-point per game score on his team for the majority of the time. I think maybe Jordan Clarkson might have got there 1 year. And maybe Bogdan another, but that's something I can't confirm.
Oh yeah, I remember Bogdan really averaged 20. I remember that, yeah.
I'm sure you think you do. Bogdan was your guy. Either way, neither of them was like that to be second fiddle on a playoff team. And Donovan Mitchell is making them relevant. I mean, there's just really no other way around it to say. I mean, now he's playing with guys who can put the ball in the hoop at a clip that he hasn't seen in the NBA as far as playing with it. So he's going to be able to look at his teammates and be like, hey, you can go get 32. You can go get 42 if you need to. Or hey, I don't have to initiate, the offense because I'm not really a point guard. I'm more of a slasher, slashing two guard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Kind of a freelancer for sure.
Yeah, and then the thing that I want to really emphasize, because I would love to see if this comes to fruition, I would love to see Donovan Mitchell be able to emphasize and put more energy into his defense now that his offensive responsibilities aren't going to be as high. We've talked about in the past his measurables at 6'3", but a 7-foot wingspan. I would really like to see if he can put that together and become a really good defender for this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Because I mean, they have good defenders. Like Isaac is a good defender. Obviously, we got Evan and Jared. Darius is probably the only one that's gonna be. He's just probably not gonna be a good defender. That's just probably what that is. Yeah. But he doesn't have to be a negative defender. But I mean, he's just not gonna be that. But if all the other guys can be, that's still I'm just interested to see for sure.
Yeah.
Who else? Also, Karis LeVert. I think I'm interested to see his role on this team, just because I feel like any and every time Karis gets to a team where either he has expectations or starts to get his footing, either one gets hurt or two they get a better player. So it's like,
Yeah, that is like a
I'm
thing
on.
that's following him for the most
Yeah,
part.
like I'm on the Nets. It's me and D'Lo. We hooping. We go to the playoffs. Okay, now here comes Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. Okay, so then they they get rid of him for I think he was on the way out for that James trade. But either way, with Kyrie and KD, then it gets to Cleveland. It's like, okay, it's Darius Garland and Karis LeVert, and the two Twin Towers and all that, and that sounds good. Oh wait, no, now we got Donovan Mitchell. Now I'm back to the bench. And he's not really like he's a hooper for sure. I don't know how much of a bench player he is. I feel like he kind of needs to cook a little bit, but we'll see if they keep him or what they end up doing. I mean, he still has definitely a lot of value in my opinion around the league. I mean, they may look to like move him for a more traditional 3-and-D guy, or they could keep him and really treat him like that creator off the bench, because I mean he definitely has the ability. Yeah. So
plus the intrigue of him with Rubio, like with Rubio being like back initiated and Rubio's first instinct being like a pass first guy, I feel like in a way, if they do keep him, it does make his role a lot easier. Whereas he kind of can like have the leisure of picking the opportunities. Like, okay, I want to ISO, or have Rubio run the point. So they have a lot of interesting things that they could do with the bench unit if they really like want to take those extra steps. Because I feel like keeping Karis LeVert would probably be in their interest, because there's not many guys you can find that can, if you could slide them to the bench, still do a little bit of everything. Like, well, it's probably a couple you can find, but when you find one, you kind of want to keep that guy specifically. So,
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess to answer your initial question, I think just talking about like what I expect from this team. I know I kind of went off on some other things, but I mean, listen, this is really how I look at it. To me, if you get to especially for the Cavaliers, who were the 7 seed and lost twice to basically get kicked out the playoffs, essentially they were good enough to be a playoff team. And you essentially, as far as the guys who played in that trade, you essentially trade Markkanen for Donovan Mitchell. That is how I look at that. So you're basically adding Donovan Mitchell to a playoff team. If Donovan Mitchell is what we think he is, and I think he's, a top 20, 25 player in this league, he fits right into that mold with, Devin Booker and Zach LaVine. Like, he's in that class, in that category. Jason Tatum too. I think he's in that same category with them. If he's like that, then they should be a contender. I know that's a huge jump, but they should be a contender. They have a all-star level point guard. They have an all-star level 2 guard and a closer in Donovan Mitchell. They have 2 elite defensive bigs, one who's versatile, who can guard basically 2 through 5, and the other who can also switch a little bit, but is also a rim protector and a lob threat, with creators off the bench and a good backup point guard as well. Like, the only weakness that I probably would say that they have is just that wing defending position. But I mean, Evan Mobley may be able to fill that role. I don't know yet, but he may be able to. I mean, they're definitely comfortable with sticking him on Giannis, because that's just a bigger player. He's more of a big than a wing. He's like a hybrid, but more of a big in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like, guarding like KD or somebody like that, I don't know. We'll see. But that would probably be my only issue with them going forward. But I mean, they have plenty of movable. They've got movable pieces to address that if they need to. So,
yeah, and kind of to your point, I do think that at some point they will try to see if they can run a lineup of, say, like a Garland Mobley, or a Garland Mitchell Mobley at the 3, like maybe Kevin Love, Jared Allen type of lineup, where it kind of would be similar to like what they had last year, where obviously Markkanen isn't like a defender, so I mean he's kind of just a bigger body, but the versatility of having like you said, Mobley switching out to like the threes and then still rotating back up to the fours and fives if need be. It could be something that down the line could be like that little kind of like their death lineup, like to just throw that out there, and you can't really like you kind of got to pick your poison with that as well. So
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be. I still don't know how that worked last year with them playing marketing at the three. I mean, that man is
it was
damn near a center.
it was crazy good though in the weirdest way possible because I would see them win games. And to see what their rotation actually, what their starting lineup actually was, it's like, how are you winning with this? But
It's definitely interesting.
yeah. But okay, what's next?
Yeah. Pacers and Pistons, I believe.
Yeah. I'm just saying my guys for last because that might.
Well, man, yeah, it's alphabetical order, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm saying my guys for last. Indiana Pacers. So I mean,
Foo-wee.
they lost some guys. I'm not gonna lie, they lost some guys.
They're fine with it as long as they can get some picks.
Yeah,
That's all they care about.
They're definitely in the rebuilding stage. I mean, trading Brogdon to the Celtics, got some young pieces. I think it was Aaron Nesmith.
Aaron Nesmith, Daniel Tice, Nick Stauskas. I think there's some more in there, but I mean I think those are probably the most notables.
Yeah, only two of them really stuck. So, yeah, they had Rubio just from the trade.
I mean,
his deal was short, but
I mean, like you said, they traded Brogdon. They also traded Sabonis, obviously, in the middle of the back, and Buddy Hield. They've been dangling Buddy Hield and Miles Turner to the entire league for months now. It seems. They're like, do you want Buddy Hield? No. Do you want Buddy Hield?
Do you like Miles? I think Miles fits you. Like, you sure you don't want Miles?
No, that's crazy. Miles been a good fit for several teams for like 5 years, and he's still in Indiana.
Yeah.
So,
and mainly a team that's in their conference. So,
man. Yes, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they lost TJ, but I mean, I feel like the injury, and they kind of just decided to move on from that.
Yeah, they're in a rebuilding stage, and TJ at this point is a veteran point guard. Honestly, veteran backup. He doesn't really fit necessarily unless they just wanted to have kind of somebody to develop Halliburton. But I'm not even really sure how much they're sold on Halliburton. I like Tyrese a lot, but I think they're still trying to see what's going on with him. I don't think they're too married to anybody right now, particularly. I mean, Tyrese and Benedict Mathurin, their first round draft pick, are probably their focus right now. But even still, like, I don't think they know. I really don't think they completely know what they want to do right now. Yeah. I think they're kind of foolish personally for not already moving Buddy Hield and Miles Turner already. I mean, they have been trying to get 2 first round picks out of the Lakers for this, but I mean, I mean, you could have. That's too much. I think they could have either traded Buddy and Miles separately and gotten better packages, or even even taken that trade. I mean, you could have probably could have gotten like a first, Russ and a player, before the Lakers traded some guys. Like, they might have been able to have gotten like a THT or like a what's the other guy's name? The forward. His face is in my mind right now. He's a forward. Oh, what was his name? I can't remember.
Not Stanley, right?
What's his first name?
Like Stanley Johnson or something like that? Or
Stanley Johnson, or like him. Like, he got traded too. So, I mean, they could have gotten some other things for that. But even still, like a first and like an expiring contract, I mean, that's kind of what they want, right?
Yeah,
they're trying to get picks and get money on the books, or maybe not. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think they know what they're doing completely. Maybe they don't want money because ain't nobody going to Indiana free agency wise. But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. They also took just to touch more on their drafts.
Yeah.
After they took Benedict Mathurin with the 6th pick, they also took Kendall Brown with the 48th pick from was this Baylor?
Yeah,
if I'm
Baylor.
correct, right? You said
yeah.
I think that's a good pick too. I think he's a good wing with good potential, good defensive and offensive potential. I think. So I mean, yeah. And they definitely have interesting young players for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
they
more
got Servetus from. Well, I remember from the Pistons. I think he played for the Jazz too.
Davidus, Davidus,
See the Davidus, Servetus or Servetus, something like that. But he's a sharpshooter.
Davidus Servetus.
Yeah, something close to that. I'll probably figure it out at some point. But he can shoot. I mean, they got Jalen Smith back, who kind of was a guy that I still don't know how the Suns, get a guy with that much potential, and then you kind of just, I think they traded him to the Pacers, I think. I'm not sure to remember, but he's kind of an interesting factor because, if he develops the way that most people thought he would for Phoenix with that type of coaching staff, he could probably be a focal point for a team. Probably not something too crazy, but at least a solid player for years to come. So the potential for what their rebuild is, they're looking at it probably from a Utah perspective where free agency isn't your best friend. You're going to have to trade for players and you're going to have to draft them because you're not a market that people are just chomping at the bit to play for. So
exactly. And also, I forgot, this is my mistake for not bringing this up. I completely forgot they got the second coming of Michael Jordan. I forgot. That correct. That's my mistake. I forgot Benedict Mathurin. LeBron has to prove himself to him. I forgot that that's who they have. So my mistake. They'll be in the championship contending fight by this time next year. they would have already won a championship. You're right. My mistake. That's my. I forgot. Listen, listen. Those are outlandish claims. I love the confidence that it gives, but it's also giving stupid. Okay, it's also giving out.
It's definitely a I need to see it type of thing, and it's gonna be over his head for years to come.
Does he understand that since he said that, when he plays the Lakers, Pat Bev is gonna pick him up full court? You never picked up people full court for less. Okay, like. Look, like when what's his name? When LeVar Ball said that Lonzo was better than Curry or whatever nonsense he said. He wasn't even talking about Pat Bev. But guess what? When Lonzo showed up to play Pat Bev, he said, "I'm gonna play you full court. I'm gonna see if you really like that." And now you're talking about his teammate. He gonna pick him up full court. You gonna see what it's about. He gonna get picked up full court by Pat Bev. He gonna get posted up by Bron. It's gonna be a rough night. It's gonna be a rough night. It's gonna be a night for him to remember. He gonna be nice though. Don't get me wrong. He gonna be nice. Don't confuse.
Even for what I was seeing, more or less, like maybe it's not the way that he's seeing it, but he has skill. So he wouldn't be in the league.
Yeah, wouldn't be in the league if he didn't have skill. But there's
levels to it. Yeah.
And if you that level, or if you're gonna get to that level, you at least got to get there first, or show us first, my G, my God. I mean, damn.
Hey.
Can we get on the NBA regular season floor first before you saying that?
Hey.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Hey, I mean, yeah, it should be interesting because I mean, from those interviews, I'm guessing he's just one of those guys that like really. Maybe that's how he hypes himself up. Like I'm trying to find like bright spots to kind of look at it from, but I mean maybe that's how he hypes himself up. Like maybe he looks in the mirror and he's like, you know what? I'm him. If Jordan was born this year, this is who he would be. You right now, Bron who? blank
He said he
Bron.
wakes up in the mirror every day. I'm him. Okay. Hey, listen,
Yeah,
positive reinforcement, positive
yeah.
affirmation. I get it. I get it. I get
Positive
it.
energy,
But
ebb and
damn,
flow, something.
man, let's get to the first game first, at least.
Yeah.
Let's let's put the jerseys on first, at least.
But
But
yeah.
I mean,
Overall,
what do you think? Does Buddy Hield and Miles Turner do they stay on this team for this year?
hopefully for the sake of the entire league, at least Miles Turner is gone by the end of this year, just because not only has the league probably been upset with the Pacers, Miles Turner himself is upset with the Pacers because
He's
yeah,
wasting away.
even from when they got Sabonis, he said, "Okay, the role you're giving me is something that I feel like I can do more. I don't want to be here anymore. You've been dangling my name for years, and I'm still not. I'm still here. So figure it out." And I think they even sat him out last year just for the fact that they just kept saying, like, "Okay, we're gonna pull the trigger. This is the year. He's gone. I promise. Like, look up. He's like, it never happens." So Buddy Hield is one of those guys where you can either move him or you keep him. I don't think he really cares. But with a guy like Miles, who you pretty much
I think Buddy cares. Listen,
yeah
he been on the Kings for all them years. He don't want to be on the Pacers too. He wants to go to a team. I'm sure he wants to go to a team that's playing winning basketball for sure. I mean,
oh man, most definitely
he's a guy that can go to. I mean, Buddy, he's a shooter, a shooter with good size, not terribly defensively.
yeah he's a
Not
body
great,
for
but
sure.
not terrible. He definitely improved strides. So like, yeah, he definitely was. I'm sure would like to go to a team that at least is playing for something.
Yeah,
So
but even like
you know,
even as far as like teams, like shoot, Buddy Hield on the Hawks sounds like a good idea. Buddy Hield to the Lakers, like they've been trying to accomplish, but I don't think that probably might happen as much as both sides would have wanted it to. That would have been a good idea for Miles Turner. Miles to the Celtics sounded good until they started making a bunch of changes. Probably still seems like a good idea in the grand scheme of things because Orford ain't getting any younger. Shoot, you can send Miles to LA. Like, there's a lot of places that want these players, and it's gonna be interesting to see if they actually finally move these guys and fully enter their rebuild. Because I mean, obviously, Buddy's gonna play. I'm pretty sure Miles at some point is gonna touch the floor. So when you have guys like that, those are guys that don't want to lose. So they're gonna play normal. But
right? Yeah.
but should be interesting. But hopefully, for the sake of all involved, and they're on new teams competing for championships, or at least in the race, probably. But the last team, my team, the Detroit Pistons. They did some stuff. They did some stuff.
Tell us about it.
Yeah.
I guess we can go draft first, free agency first.
Yeah, we can go to free agency. So I'm trying to vaguely remember what this Utah trade was because I remember the Jeremy Grant trade, that we did before the draft. That was not for the Blazers pick, just picks in. I think like a different pick in general. Saban Lee and Kelly Olynyk got traded to Utah, but I forgot. Oh no, for Bogdanovich. Yep, exactly. Literally right in front of me. Also had the Nerlens, Alec Burks, Kimba trade. I think Kimba got bought out yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely finding a new team. And then getting past that, I mean, draft wise, got Jalen Duren out of Memphis, big center, athletic, big body for the age of 18.
Hey man, child. It's the correct. Man is built like Dwight Howard but 6'11", 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he's quite the specimen. Rebounding looked really good as well in the preseason. Might I add? I think he had like 12 in one of the games that he played in, and I guess rebounding was something that people were worried about for him. But I guess you don't have to worry anymore.
I don't know why. I mean,
yeah.
bro is 7 feet tall, strong as hell, and athletic as shit.
Yeah.
If you can't rebound at that height and that like athleticism, then what are we here
Yeah.
for?
He probably wouldn't have got
What are we
drafted that
doing?
high if that was something that they really like were hampering on, you know?
Yeah, like he's gonna be a rim running, rebounding machine for this team. Hopefully he can turn into like a defensive anchor as well. But I
Most
mean, the
definitely.
rebounding and like catching the lobs and rim running, that's just the bare minimum that he's gonna easily be able to do.
Yeah. And then I guess you say like the first domino that fell was Jaden Ivey, the point guard slash shooting guard out of Purdue.
Great
Um
pick. I'm actually surprised you didn't say him first.
yeah, I mean, because I thought about it like Duran is definitely like it was at a position of need, but I feel like with Ivy it was
Ivy's a need too.
yeah, but I feel
Nah,
like
that's a need.
yeah with Ivy I feel like also it was just what the potential of what he has the potential of the type of player he can become because the shooting he's displaying right now I don't think anybody saw that coming from his college numbers. I mean I'm pretty sure he'll still be around like a 34, 35 potentially. I would assume for like an NBA from an NBA range 3, but shooting looked a lot like he's polished. He worked on it. Slashing, he is quick. He is a flash of light.
Yes, I mean he came in with Ja Morant comparisons, and I think that a lot of that comes from his athleticism.
Yeah, like spring off the. I think even tonight he had a pretty good like change of pace, kind of like burst off the baseline, one hand dunk. Like him with Cade, because obviously I'm gonna be realistic with anybody that's listening to this. If we make the plan, which I doubt it, I will be happy. But I know what this is. It's a rebuild. We're building culture. I get all of that. But for a future team to kind of say, okay, I watched it from the beginning, and if it turns out well, I was there from the jump. This is probably one of the better teams to look at as far as you got Cade, you got Sadiq Bey, who literally is one of the top tier shooters in the league that I feel like he doesn't really get talked about that much because of the team that he plays for. But, there's a lot of good things going on for this team. Um, Even re-upping Bagley, who looked pretty rejuvenated. I know he had like a knee injury a couple nights prior, so hopefully it's nothing too serious with that. But I feel like there's a lot of good things on the up and up for them.
I agree. Their future is very bright. Let's just keep it a stack, bro. Like to me, this is a guards league. You have two guys who, you get drafted in the top 3, top 4, which is what Cade and Ivy both were.
Yeah.
You're expected to be an all-star. So you got an all-star level. You got you have an expected all-star level backcourt. You know what I mean? Like so. That's a start. That's a great start. And like you said, you got guys like Sadiq who made a great jump last year. People aren't talking about him because of who he plays for, but he's definitely a great player. He had a 50 ball last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. On the only game
So
of the night, might I add, the only game of that night was a 50 ball, and no one cared.
yeah, so he's nice too. So they're definitely a team to be paying attention to, especially going forward into the future. I don't think they're going to be nearly as bad as they were. So the Victor sweepstakes, I don't think you're going to be in.
Yeah.
But
as much as I would love that on the
I don't think you need to be. I don't really think you need to be, and I don't think he would even fit. I don't even think he would fit the roster that you have now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't even think he would fit it. But maybe I could be wrong, but yeah, I wouldn't even see how that would work. Running him at the 4, yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how that would work because, because I'm not gonna like be one of the people that kind of like gas it where it's like how, like I think you probably seen it where they said that Victor was in like a LeBron James draft class.
They said it. That's wild. That's crazy wild. It's like here's the thing. Like yes, he's 7'4", and he can do all these great things, but he's playing against lesser competition. And I just that's tough to say. Like, bro, like Brian was like
Brian came right out the high
6'8".
school gym though, so that's
Yeah,
also a
like
difference too.
Yeah, bro. Like he was 6'8", the most athletic thing we have ever seen. Honestly, like just keep it a stack, and had like crazy point guard vision. Could do it all. I mean, yeah, he was a street. He people talk about like he couldn't shoot that well, but he was still a guard. You know what I mean? So like he's still pulling up with guard level shots. You know,
Yeah.
so like playing off the perimeter like that, and then being able to just be just a lockup on that other end. I mean, it's impossible to say, especially with LeBron, because we have so much hindsight.
Yeah.
And we have so much hindsight with him from the start. Like his first game, 19 years old, and coming from straight from high school, drops 25 on grown men. Like there was no need to develop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he literally could have stayed the player he was from his first game and still been a really great player. You know what I mean? Like they're like obviously he's gotten significantly better to be arguably one of the greatest basketball players to ever play. But I don't know. It's like it's just so hard for that to compare that hindsight. It's just from the start he was just balling on people, and then we have like the stories where like I think it was Ron Artest came out. He was playing against NBA players and dogging everybody at 18. Like, bro, come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I can't give it to LeBron. Can we talk about like Zion and maybe like Andrew Wiggins? Because as prospects, they were very hyped as well. Let's talk more about them. You can't. I can't give it to you about Brian.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Yeah, it was crazy when I seen it and then it was Richard Jefferson, which made me think maybe he's trolling Bron because I know he does that a lot and people don't catch it, but some of them guys actually believe it. So it's.
I mean, I'm not gonna get mad. I'm not gonna necessarily get mad at it. I don't think it's. I guess I wouldn't say it's that crazy because bro is like an alien, like 7'4".
Yeah, he's 7'4", fading from the corner like it's 2K. That's
like
that's not
he's
normal.
not moving. He's not moving like a Chet or like a Bol. Like he moving like a Paul George almost. You know what I mean? Like a KD a little bit. Like he's fluid with his movement way more than those guys. Like, and there was actually a play, and I know we're not. This isn't like the Victor segment, but I just want to throw this last part out there. There was a play where he went across the middle, drove across the middle, and pulled up at the free throw line for like a midi.
Yeah,
and he shot it. He shot it strong. He missed it, but that play, literally just like watching the fluidity that he got to this spot and pulled up right there. He gonna be a problem.
Oh, for sure.
Because there's nobody in the league right now that's gonna be able to block that shot or stop him from getting to right there. Literally, like there's barely anybody that can stop KD from doing that same thing, and he's bigger than KD is. So it's just like, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's gonna be the mid-range shooter that KD is, but it's just like if he works, like if he works on this game the right way, it's going to be scary. Like,
yeah,
he's gonna easily be able to average like 20 to 30 a night very easily, just off of his height. He makes it really look small.
Also, he made Rudy like, and the thing was only like a 2-inch difference.
It was bigger than that to me. I know. Yeah. To me, it looked like somebody's lying.
I'm about to say because he said he's 7'3".
Yeah, so I was like, Rudy, either you ain't 7 feet, or Victor, you not 7'3". So one of you is lying.
For sure, somebody's capping.
Man,
because he towered over Bron, and Bron was sitting down. I mean, obviously, like sitting down is.
Oh yeah, he gonna tower over Bron for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, but Bron been lying about his height for his whole life. He's been telling us his whole career he's 6'8".
Bron probably about 6'9".
He's 6'9". Closer to 6'10" to me than I think he is 6'8". He be looking mellow in the face.
Bruh. Same with KD. Talking about you 6'10" or whatever, 6'9".
They had that man listed for years. We got an Olympic picture of you looking DeAndre Jordan and DeMarcus Cousins in the eye.
Bruh.
Line up our face.
It's just crazy, but Yeah. Not that, but we gonna get more into Vic because some point talking about that
Man,
draft class because this draft class looking kind of souped. I ain't gonna lie.
nah, yeah, Victor and Scoot. Yeah,
Man.
nah, Scoot. It really this is another note. It really reminds me of the Zion and Ja Morant class, at least at the top, because it's like you have this transcendent level prospect that we haven't seen before, who, if he stays healthy and maximizes, he can be he like projects to be a Hall of Fame level player.
Yeah.
But then you got this guy who's like also he's a safe pick, but like if he pans out, he's gonna be he's obviously he's gonna be like an all-star, all NBA player, but like he can be a Hall of Famer too. But it's just like what I mean, like it's just tough. Like I felt very comfortable that Ja was gonna be really good in the NBA, but Zion just has like that crazy upside that you have not seen
Yeah.
before. Like
That wow
something
factor.
about like just seeing a player that you haven't seen before. Like we've seen players like Ja Morant come into the league, Derrick Rose, um, Russell Westbrook. Even though they play a little differently, like Steve Francis, like all those like uber athletic point guards,
Yeah.
and Baron Davises. Like we've seen like those, even like AI. We've seen them like play. And AI may not have been like as athletic as Ja, but like they both slash, and I feel like
Yeah.
in that same type of way,
Still
kind of
had a similar,
relentless
like
and
a
like
kind of similar bounce, even though I wasn't really dunking like to that extent.
yeah. So I don't know. It's just something about the unknown that makes people get, you know, out of pocket.
Out of
Crazy
body.
draft, though. You
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. At some point, something like that. Definitely touch on that. But yep, that's it
That's
for.
the
Mhm.
yeah. That is that's the central.
Yeah, that's essential. Now it's Southwest Division, and I guess we could probably start with the
Let's
teams that we
go.
know aren't going to do nothing. Probably.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So Spurs and Rockets.
Yeah, so we'll probably take on Houston first, just because I feel like in the grand scheme of things, they did move somebody. They moved two players of very much great importance, at least to the team that they went to. They waived John Wall, or kind of released him of the contract and everything. Um,
Finally,
yeah, finally,
holding that man hostage.
and had him sitting on the bench for like what 2 years, maybe 3.
Uh, has it been two? I know he played. No, he played a little bit last year.
Yeah,
I thought he played a little bit with Christian Wood last year.
yeah. I think they saw that he was like somewhat healthy, and then they were like, "Dang, he's gonna ruin our tank," so they just sat him for a year.
Yeah, they said we're gonna let you play just enough so that people can see that you still can. And then yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna we gonna we gonna cut all that shit out.
but yeah, we trying to get Jabari. You playing? You don't help that. So but
Yeah.
but it's like that. Then they had the Christian Wood trade, which in return they got Boban Marjanovic. That's like the main one that I remember from this deal, or probably the main one.
What they have? They got Boban, they got Sterling Brown, they got Trey Burke, and they got Marquise Chris.
Yeah,
I think those. Yeah, Sterling Brown, I think, is a solid player, solid two-way. I think player can might finally get some minutes to really kind of show that. And then Trey Burke, Trey Burke's a bucket. Trey Burke has been a bucket. It's definitely a guard that can come on in off the bench and give you some good minutes. Marquise Chris, up and down on him. Boban the
yeah,
same way. He can come in and give you 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes of some quality, And they're vets. So, I mean, that's probably good for this young team, too. I don't think any of them are going to play a lot of minutes. No one will probably play more than 20 minutes a night. But, like, just to have, it's good to have. So,
yeah. And
none of these players are, like, financially either. So,
yeah, definitely nothing really probably stressing them with their contracts. But I mean, the only real good takeaway, because I do follow some people on Rocket Twitter, and like some are very transparent as far as their like expectations of KPJ and Jalen and even Josh Christopher and Shingun. Like their young core is kind of up there with like some of the with some of those teams you can watch out for because they have some bucket getters over there, and it's with this class that they just had recently with like Tari Eason, a lanky shooter with defensive prowess. You got Jabari Smith, who 6'11" with a frame. He can shoot, defensively sound. Then you get Ty Washington, who in a way is like he was one of the smoother guards in the class from the last draft class as well. So their future is also looking pretty good. But obviously, the next 2 or 3 seasons aren't looking too bright, unless like some of those guys make drastic leaps. But definitely another team to keep your eye on as well, as far as guys that are getting younger, working on some things.
I mean, yeah, just I'm not gonna spend too much time on them either. But just quick point. I mean, they have talent, but it really I mean, it may sound obvious. I mean, it obviously depends on like the development of Porter and Green, and it depends on like your, I guess, perception of what Green can be.
Yeah.
Is he gonna be? Is he more of an Anthony Edwards, or is he more of who else is a good comp? I guess I don't really have another comp currently right now, but look more like a off the bench type of guy that's gonna come in and score, or is he like a focal point that you can build around? And I'm not really saying that he can't be more of an Anthony Edwards. I mean, he only had his rookie year, so I'm not gonna box him in like that, especially like off of the positive things that I saw. But it's just one of those things you got that you want to see more on. Like what is his ceiling? You know what I mean? Like is he somebody that you can build around and also build a culture around? You know what I mean? Like the Rockets right now, they're a really young team. I think it's a newer coach. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting.
Steven Silas, I believe, is their new coach.
I believe, yeah. So just seeing seeing who they can build around, and because I think he's gonna have to be that player for them, quicker rather than later, especially because like Jabari Smith doesn't look ready either. He looks he looked a lot rawer than I thought he was going to.
For sure. That I saw him, especially after the summer league too. The summer league when he played against Paolo, it was kind of visible that one of them kind of had more polish to them than the other one. So
yeah, Paulo's going to be a 16 point per game scorer off rip, like easily. So I mean, he looks polished. He can score on all 3 levels, and he's 6'10".
With a handle.
He looks smooth. Yeah, it's funny because like I feel like a lot of times we kind of get caught up in like the roles that players play in college.
Yeah.
And sometimes we kind of box them inside of their roles and not really understand that their bag may be deeper than that. You know what I mean? So like he was kind of put into a role at Duke where we didn't get to see a lot of that put on the forefront a whole lot. But I mean, it's there. He's not really a big. And that's kind of how.
Yeah, he's like a tweener between small small power forward.
Yeah, he's really a 3. Like he's really more of like he's gonna be like a Tobias Harris, Jason Tatum type tweener. Like he might be running a 4, but like he's a perimeter player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
he'll pull the bigs out like to the water.
Exactly. He's gonna be able to dominate quickly too because he's got good size. He's not no small dude. Yeah, I'm excited to see him. I know he's not the team we're talking about, but
yeah, because we're definitely getting them as well. But keep rolling to another team who actually I've seen a little bit of them in their preseason game. Even though it's not much to say, I did kind of like what I saw. San Antonio Spurs. Big thing for them was they traded DeJounte Murray to the Atlanta Hawks. Forgot who they got back in return. I want to say it might have been Gorgie Jang, I think.
Yeah, who Gorgie Jang?
Yeah,
that can't be that's the only player they got. They got
Yeah, I know they probably got some more, but I forgot about the insides of the deal.
I mean, they got Gallinari and multiple first round picks, but that was the the situation where they waived Gallo and then he was able
with
to go to
cap
the Celtics.
space. Yeah.
So yeah, they got multiple first round picks. And I know a lot of people were talking about how, they didn't feel like it was a good trade just because they kind of gave up on the rebuild, and like Murray was kind of a part of their initial rebuild.
Yeah.
But no, they're hitting the hard reset button, and I don't have a.
Yeah, and it's interesting in the case of like, especially for a coach like Pop, where he hasn't really had to do a hard reset since like that initial like break period when I think D-Rob got hurt, and then they ended up with Tim Duncan somehow because of the pick that they traded for, I believe.
I don't even think, but that's the thing. It's like that's an injury year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I wouldn't even consider that reset. I don't think they've ever reset.
yeah.
They have never really fully said, okay, we're gonna just we're tanking now.
Like we're not competing.
Yeah, like they haven't done that since he's been there. Because like you said, they had David Robinson. He gets hurt. So then they kind of make some adjustments during the season where they're able to kind of get Tim. But then, I mean, obviously from then on,
It's
competing
elementary.
for championship, Tim Duncan retires. You got Kawhi, you got LaMarcus. I mean, then they trade Kawhi, but I mean, they get DeMar, and they're still in the playoffs. And then you get DeJounte, who, develops and then still kind of gets you in playoff positions at times. So it's like they were too competitive to get like high draft picks. And I feel like at this point they probably just said, let's really get to it. Like we've never had to tank basically in a long time. Let's just finally do it.
Yeah, and there's one thing as far as either whether it's a Pop thing or just a Spurs thing. Surprisingly, a lot of the pieces, obviously, they do like their foreign players. So they like, as far as their draft is concerned, I mean, they took Jeremy. I think it's Sohan.
Jeremy Sochan.
Yeah.
Jeremy Sochan, who who you guys are very big on. I didn't really like the pick, but I mean, he's a young player. He's got some potential at places.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he has the potential to develop into a wing scorer. But I don't know. I just didn't see it. Maybe they kind of see a little bit of like some Kawhi in there, just like as far as projection, like ability to be like best defender of his class, big body, can be athletic, agile on both sides of the ball. So that's probably what they kind of saw, and I can get that being the reason why they took him for sure.
Yeah.
And then also they took Malachi Branham and then Blake Wesley as well. So
yeah, which I feel like those two might be the bigger focal points of their rebuild, because Blake Wesley in the summer league, him and Primo they were taking turns with the ball, just cooking at certain points. So they might have hit with the Blake Wesley one. I mean, Branham is obviously like everything else they've done probably has left to be seen, but like you said, it's a hard reset, probably for the first time really ever under Pop's regime. So it's just going to be wait and see to see how those guys develop, and if they get back to contending. Pop will probably be gone by the time they're contending again, but
more than likely. And then they going past the draft, they also signed Keldon Johnson to a 4-year, $80 million extension. I feel like it's pretty average for ascending players extensions. The $20 million a year at this point. So
yeah,
he definitely stepped his game up last year. Definitely developed how they wanted him to. So I mean, I think it's solid. And then they picked up Isaiah Roby and Gorgie Jang, I believe, in free agency, though, I want to say.
Yeah, I remember the Roby signing, which for some reason it kind of like I kind of was more happy about that than anything else. I remember seeing him play the Thunder, because the Pistons used to always get torched by the Thunder in those games that they played, and like Roby would just come in and just hit like a couple threes and then just sit down. So it's like they're known for getting those guys that like really might not have had the biggest role or the biggest name and then they just become like mad serviceable for them. So
Yeah, no, I think
yeah,
that was a big thing for them as far as the free agency and the draft, just picking up value. I mean, I don't know if any of those players that they drafted are going to be exceptional, but they're all going to be impactful players, especially within the Spurs like organization and like development circle. So, but the thing for the Spurs is tank for Victor.
oh yeah, definitely. Victor, this is the team at the forefront, or one of the few teams at the forefront of the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. Mainly just because if you're gonna get somebody at the tail end for Pop to probably deal with for a rebuild, you might want to get somebody that's like generational. So,
Yep,
but
exactly.
which I should be interested to see how that goes because a lot of people don't want him to be on the Spurs, which is weird, but kind of crazy.
We got next.
Yeah.
We're
So
going.
we go Mavericks or Pelicans.
I mean, if we're going, we might as well go alphabetical order, honestly. So if that's the case, we should Grizzlies.
Okay, Grizzlies. Yeah. So as far as like what they lost Kyle Anderson, and Anthony Melton for sure through the trade.
Yeah, I think those are big. Those are big losses to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, very notable.
Especially for their cohesion with the way DeAnthony Melton played on the floor, shooting defensively. But
same for Kyle.
Yeah,
Shooting. I mean, and they get in return for Melton. I mean, they get Danny Green, who's coming off of an ACL injury, and let's be clear, who's up and down at this point of his career, anyways.
Yeah.
I mean,
and like, I feel like more of their stuff was they had a very like eccentric draft night. As far as I didn't realize how many picks they actually had.
well, yeah, they got a when they traded the Melton, they also got a first round pick in return with Danny Green.
Yeah,
so.
and I believe that was that the Laravia pick?
Let's see. No,
Okay.
Laravia was the 19th pick.
Yeah.
And the Danny Green, they got the 23rd overall. So, let's see.
Because the only ones left would have probably either been like Roddy or I don't think Vincent Williams was a first round pick.
No, he wasn't. He was the last rookie.
Yeah. Hmm.
Not telling me, but I mean,
Yeah.
Or so, yeah. I mean, they definitely were getting stockpiling, getting some picks. I think they're really just trying to emphasize on building around Ja. But yeah, like you said, I mean, they drafted Jake LaRavia. They drafted. Let's see, what was that the guy's name?
Kennedy Chandler. That's what they got too as well.
Which is kind of, I don't want to say mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't make much sense to me, though. I mean,
it's kind of up there with like I said, Mobley getting signed by the Cavs, because I think they said that Chandler and Ja knew each other from like some camp or something. So I mean, it could have been, or I think Chandler is from Memphis, so probably a multitude of things, but probably just one of them's like give him a shot type of things. But
I mean, but he wasn't even like their last draft pick. He was you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like just a flyer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They
like
probably def had vision for him because defensively he was solid in the summer league, what I could recall.
My thing is just like I don't know. I don't know if they maybe they didn't know the full status of Tyus Jones getting re-signed with them before they took him. But I mean, now that Tyus Jones is re-signed with them,
yeah,
now man, it's a waste of a pick. But it just seems redundant. Like you have Ja, who is going to play 35 plus minutes a night. That's just what that's going to be. And then Tyus is going to take up the rest. And when Ja gets hurt, Tyus will literally slide in and play 30 minutes a night. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's insurance for your insurance, maybe. Sure. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I mean, like no, based off how it was last season, where they lost certain positions, and you had guys like Santi Aldama, you had Conchar, who they also re-signed. They had a lot of guys that were just stepping in that you probably didn't even know were on the team or that had the capabilities of also being rotational players, but are just behind like the main starters or just behind even like the benches, like the bench more or less. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, I mean, all in all, I think I would say the draft is okay. It's not more so that I have an issue with the players per se, just kind of like some of the fit, especially with the Kennedy Chandler fit, but or Kennedy Chandler pick. I'm sorry, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. I think Jake LaRavia can be definitely a really solid player for them
yeah,
sooner though. But I mean, just reiterating in their free agency, like we said, they re-signed Tyus Jones.
oh Steven Adams as well. I forgot about that.
They extended Steven Adams.
Yeah, I believe they extended him. Forgot what month in the period they extended him, but yeah, they did give him another contract as well.
Okay, for sure, for sure. They also extended John Conchar as well, who was a good 3-point shooter for them. So I think the main thing with the Grizzlies is to really just build around Ja, see what they have as far as their complementary pieces on if they can be good enough around Ja to compete for a championship. Those complementary pieces, in my opinion, being Desmond Bain and Triple J. Like, is Desmond Bain going to be just a good two-way player, or is he going to be able to, is he going to turn into the guy that can develop into being like a fringe all-star, like we've seen we've seen so many guys come in kind of being like defensive first type of, 3-and-D guys and develop their games into all-star level players. Paul
Yeah,
George, Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, Jaylen Brown. Like, we've seen this tale over and over and over again. So, I mean, if he can turn into that, it will change things significantly. I mean, they still have Dylan Brooks as well,
yeah,
if I'm not. So, yeah, I mean,
and plus, I
yeah, we'll see.
mean, yeah, like it's just a lastly touch up before I move to another team. I've seen a lot of people talking about Zaire Williams, who throughout the summer league, he was playing, and probably a lot of people probably wonder why he was still, playing for their summer league team. And I feel like he's also one of those important pieces to see how it fits as a job. Because at certain points, the role that he had in college, or at least the role that people seen that he had from even when he was in high school, it was a more vast role than what it is for the Grizzlies, where he's kind of like that lanky shooter, plays some defense. They don't really let him handle that much. So to see what he kind of can develop into alongside, say, like I think he starts every once in a while, right? Or kind of started
Oh,
Zaire.
I mean, at what position?
Um, I mean, I think they mainly had him at like they mainly had him at like the three, I believe, like as like a
If he's starting at the 3, I would assume that it was because, I mean, I assume it was because just, Dylan Brooks had missed a lot of time at the beginning of the season and kind of threw off how, threw into whack how they were going to have their lineups. So he might have been starting, but I mean, I don't think he should start over Dylan Brooks
yeah,
personally. But I mean, that's a decision that they'll make coming into the season. They may relegate Dylan to be more of a 6-man or six-man off the bench role. We'll see. But I like Dylan Brooks's like defensive chops and like that dog in him to be on my first team or my starters. He does take some questionable shots at times, but I mean, he ain't the only one on the team that takes questionable shots. So
yeah, yeah. Should be interesting to see what they do. Obviously, they gonna try to compete. They got them dogs. They gonna gritty.
I mean, I do have them taking a step back personally, at least record wise. I don't think they're going to be the 2 seed again. I think
Yeah,
there's a lot of teams getting healthy. A lot of teams that got better either from injured players coming back or even just by additions. So we will see where they be. I mean, I fully expect them to be a playoff team, of course, but 2 seed, I don't know. Like I said, there's going to be people that are going to be disappointed because there's just too many teams right now in the West with like elite level players. Somebody's going to not make it.
Yeah, so they'll most definitely still be like fighting for a spot, but yeah, like I said, like I don't think I don't think 2 is their like destined position. Obviously, cause even like the past couple of seasons, like those top couple of seeds always vary as far as you might have like a couple constants, but then it's always gonna be that one team that they take that leap that next season. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I guess after that, would it be the Pelicans after that?
It's the Mavericks.
Okay, Mavericks. Now that I think about it, they really didn't do much outside of with the trades.
I was about to say I wouldn't say they didn't do much. I think they made some pretty significant moves by who they drafted and who they traded for and who they let walk. So I mean, I think
yeah,
their offseason changed the landscape of their team dramatically. So I mean, we can start off by the trade.
Yeah, but well, maybe I'll just start with the biggest one. Brunson walk-in free agency. He's now a New York Knick. Got his bag, as we discussed a while back.
The second leading scorer in the regular season and the playoffs.
Yeah, he was probably could have been seen as like what most would have thought that the Dallas Mavericks would peg as their right-hand man for Mr. Doncic, but I guess maybe the bag was steep. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they don't. Yeah, the bag was definitely steep, but I mean he was wildly important to them. I mean they don't beat the Jazz without him, so he's definitely going to be missed. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, they lost Burke. Well, they lost Trey Burke, Marquise Chris, and Boban. I believe, like we said, with the Rockets trade.
Yeah, I mean they weren't playing. Trey Burke can play, but they weren't playing him anyway. So,
Yeah, and well, in return for that deal, they did get Christian Wood, who there's a lot of things going around with how Kidd is seeing how his role is going to be on the team. He's not happy with it. It's
at the end of the day, that man is a damn near a 7-footer who can play inside and outside, and can be good on defense if he buys in. And I think he'll buy in if he's on a team that's competing and within a culture. That's really all that. I mean, that's really all it ever takes, honestly. They're all professional athletes. They all have probably come from winning at some point in their careers, whether it's high school, college, or overseas or whatever. So I mean, they all want. Everybody wants to win. So you'll do the exactly. So once you're in a position to do so, he'll do it. He'll play defense if he's on a good team, and that's not on bullshit. Yeah. I know if for the audience, PTP hates Christian Wood. I'll throw it out there.
It's not a hate. It's more or less, I believe that more people should realize that his tendencies need to be accounted for as far as how he handles when roles aren't really given to him based off of how he perceives his talent to be. He's a solid player. I'm not gonna say he's a complete. Well,
he's an all-star level. He's an all-star caliber level player.
Yeah, like he hoops, but I feel like sometimes he rates himself a little too high. Where it's like if your coach is telling you that he sees you as probably like coming in as a bench player, where in reality you get more touches because you're the focal point of that bench. There's somebody else on that bench is gonna take shots from you, and you kind of put out a laughing emoji, like you're just surprised that he's
I agree.
in the first place.
No, but I agree with that. I think it's dumb that we're gonna waste time with putting him on the bench because he's gonna play his majority of minutes with Luka. Like that's just what that's gonna be.
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna be on the bench playing 15 minutes. He's gonna be coming off the bench playing 30 minutes a night. That doesn't even make sense. Like what's the point? Like just start the kid. Like you know what I mean? Like no, like for real. Like and he's a big. When this isn't the 1980s and 90s. What team has a big coming in as their sixth man? Who was like the Bucks maybe? But the Bucks were like Bobby Portis maybe.
Hey, Bobby Portis was
that
the
might
sixth
be
man for a little bit, yeah.
That might be the only one. But I mean like he wasn't handling the ball or initiating anything. He's just scoring, but it's just like
yeah.
I don't know. I think he should start. I don't really understand why he's not. I mean, you traded a first round pick for him. You traded a first round pick for a bench player.
Yeah. I'm about to say like that's because I feel like more or less where kids' mindset is at. I feel like it's fine, but as far as for like I said, what the team gave up, you put like I said, you put those expectations on it to where we traded a first round pick and like 3 players that. Even though 2 of them didn't play, or not 2 of them, only 1 of them didn't play, which is like Marquise Chris, like fully. But you traded away all those guys and a pick for somebody that you want to put on the bench, or that your coach wants to put on the bench. It makes everything look confused because I don't think they all had the same expectations or same visual for him as a whole. So,
man, this is also a side note. Just touching on the free agency a little more. And it's more of a negative. It's going to get a little technical here, but they also, trade exception that they did not take advantage of. Damn near an $11 million trade exception. That's a good player. Yeah. That's what that is. $11 million is a good player. That's a good rotational player that they could have traded for. It's not like they don't have needs. There's a bunch of question marks on this team, in my opinion. So,
I mean, backup PG, Their forward positions are a little iffy.
And starting 2. I mean, either Spencer or Tim might start at the 2, but I mean, I don't think Jason is in love with either because they haven't started before. They didn't start last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you said, I mean, they got Christian Wood. I'm high on him. I think he should start. I think by the end of the year he will be. I don't think we should be wasting time with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Would you say that this team, at least? Well, no. I'll wait to ask this question later. Let's move on to the draft. I'll ask it. I'll ask at the end of it.
Yeah. Well, kind of like you said, they did draft Jaden Hardy with their. It feels like their own. That was the only pick of the draft, right? Or they traded for that one.
So they traded the first round pick to the Rockets, and then they sent. They sent 2. They traded 2 second round picks to get the 37th to draft Jaden Hardy. Jaden wasn't a first round pick either.
Second round.
Yeah. He fell all the way. He fell to the second. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because I can recall like watching that and just realizing that Beauchamp, who probably didn't have that high of a draft stock before. Or it might have been rising, but people probably wouldn't have thought they would have been higher than Hardy's. But somehow Hardy dropped to the second. So,
I mean, just because like he dropped. I always think it's interesting because he isn't the only player to like play for the G League and have bad percentages that people act like they're concerned about. It's like when a guy comes from high school, and goes into the G League, he's not going to college. Like not everybody's gonna be Tim and LeBron James. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he's even
learning curve, more or less.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, Jaden still averaged 17 points in the G League with NBA level prospects coming from high school. You know what I mean? Like let's relax. Like he's nice. he's nice. So I never understood like the buzz, I guess, dipping around him as a result of that. But I mean, he's definitely gonna be good. I don't know if he's gonna be as good as they need him to be, for the next couple of years, I mean, he's going to have to be an all-star level player, I'm assuming, for them to really take advantage of what they have with him and Luka. But I mean, he's got time. Luka's young, so
Yeah,
I think
definitely like if they put him in the
deal.
lineup, he should, or at least like if he's coming in off the bench, because I'm pretty sure like they would want to slot him in for like those bench rotational minutes, see what he's made
Yeah.
of, because he has the skill set, and if even that's the guy you peg in for like as that future two, or I mean I guess he's kind of built like a wing, kinda.
Well, he's 6'4", so he's a
Yeah,
two guard
two.
really.
Yeah. So like, if you can slide him in as that future two with him and Luca, then putting together a lineup for him that much easier because you already have, say, two positions on lock. If I'm pretty sure by the middle of the season, Christian Wood's going to start, like how you said. So or at least probably or by the slight beginning of the season, Christian Wood's going to start.
Also, just I didn't touch on this. This is just kind of slight piggyback for their free agency because they didn't add anybody except for JaVale. As far as
McGee.
And yeah, I mean JaVale, he'll be solid, in the 15 to 20 minutes he plays for sure. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be an impactful value pick player, but I mean shit. You lose Jalen Brunson and you bring in JaVale McGee. It don't add up, dog.
Yeah. Then they re-signed. I mean, they re-signed Kleba, who I mean, along with Bertans, probably had one of the uglier shooting performances in a playoff series. So I mean, there's a lot of for every decent, not every decent, for every good thing they did, there are question marks as far as. I mean, I guess Kleba for depth or just like continuity because he's been there for a couple of years. And then you get a JaVale where like you lose somebody who's like I said, a guy that averages like 20 plus and over or 20 and over in a playoff series or in a playoff stretch.
Yeah.
You replace him with JaVale McGee. It kind of cancels out like you getting like a Christian Wood and a Jaden Hardy because I mean we kind of know what their expectations are for them, but to
Well,
lose
it's
a guy
just
like
like
that. Yeah.
getting Jalen Brunson, like there's no backup for him. Even if you expect Hardy to kind of replace that, then they don't really play the same type of game.
Yeah.
And it's not really fair or reasonable to expect Hardy, even if he was drafted to be the replacement, to be ready to contribute in or be a key player on a playoff team next year. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's just, and that's the expectation. I mean, you have Luka. You're expected to be in the playoffs. I'm not gonna say compete for a championship yet, but I mean he's a championship level player.
Yeah, they're expecting to be postseason.
Exactly, and I'm not so sure they got better. I mean, at best they're the same. I don't think they got better. Honestly, they lost a ball handler and didn't really. They lost a. I mean, they lost a very good to fringe all-star level player, and at the at ball handling position, and didn't replace him.
Yeah,
and just added two bigs instead. Like the issue already was all this pressure on Luka. Luka's doing too much. Luka's tiring himself out. But then you take away basically the one guy that was allowing him to kind of play off the ball a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, and it's like Dinwiddie's still there, but I don't think Kidd has. Because when Dinwiddie played in the playoffs, I mean, it wasn't like he was just another
Dinwiddie
type
was
of factor. Yeah.
Dinwiddie was playing well, but my whole point with that was just like Dinwiddie was playing well in addition to Jalen Brunson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like like it's one of those things where I'm not trying to like shit on Dinwiddie in any way. He's a good player and everything. I'm more so just trying to illustrate that like the team that you had, you still lost. You didn't get to the you didn't get to the finals, you didn't win a championship, and you lost your second leading scorer and your second lead ball handler, and you didn't replace him with anybody. So to try to slide Spencer into that second role who's going to be the third? I mean, maybe Tim Hardaway. He didn't play last year, so he comes back. So maybe that's their thinking, and I do like Tim a lot. So maybe that's the thought process. I don't know.
Yeah, but as much as like the talent with like them having Luka is for them, I feel like this lineup still does have like that slight potential to be like, okay, like maybe they won't. I'm not gonna say they're gonna be bad because I mean you obviously have a Luka, you're gonna compete, but I don't think this is like. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. They could blow
be the worst.
Water.
Bro, if they make the playoffs, they're gonna this is gonna be the worst starting lineup in the playoffs, easily.
Oh no doubt.
Like not even like I can go down the entire landscape of the West, and their top two players will be better than the Mavericks' top two players, as far as like, I mean, unless yeah. I'm not saying that a lot of players will be better than Luka, but that second player, like Christian Wood or Spencer Dinwiddie, excuse me, is not matching up with like AD, LeBron, and Steph and Wiggs and Ant and King and Zion and Bi and Paul George and Kawhi and Jokic and Jamal. Maybe the Mavericks with Ja and Bane. But, I mean, I've seen Bane playing playoff basketball, so I would give him the edge over Christian Wood right now.
Yeah, just off the proven factor.
Yeah, Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Like, yeah, man. It's tough. It's tough. We'll see. I mean, this will be, if he wants to have an MVP year, this is it.
Oh, it is definitely the year for that.
For sure.
They're going to need it. They're definitely going to need it.
30 points, 9 assists, and 9 rebounds loading up right now.
Yeah, honestly, he's probably going to he's going to need that 2K stat line that I seen he had from earlier where it was like he had like 30. It's like 35, 11, and 11. He can't miss. He's going to have to lock in for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, he's coming in. He's coming in shape this year. First time in his NBA career. So
yeah. Hey. Also, side note, he did a hook shot. So or he was doing hook shots in the FIBA tournament. So I don't know that like most of if he does overseas doesn't really translate, at least from what I can remember. But hey,
so he can do whatever he. Listen, he's gonna get in the post, and he's 6'8", and he's a big body. He can do it.
Yeah,
it'll work.
Probably make some shade with that one. And ironically, speaking of Zion and Bi, we got the Pelicans.
Yes, we do have the Pelicans, the sleeper team, the sleeping giant.
Yeah, man.
The 2022-23 surprise team of the year.
And I mean, like looking at if you look at what they lost, I mean, obviously you see like Gary Clark, Jared Harper, Tony Snell.
Ain't nobody worried about that.
Yeah, I'm saying
I know who Gary Clark is and Tony Snell, but
yeah,
listen, not largely non-factors. Largely non-factors to their team.
Yeah,
especially
they have
more
pluses and minus more.
I mean, they added the plus is evident.
Yeah,
the plus is about 275 pounds. Okay, you know what I mean. So, come on.
Yeah,
we don't even. I mean, we can talk about draft and we will, but even if they did nothing,
him coming back,
if they did nothing on both those fronts, yeah. So, I mean, you want to start with the draft or the kind of like the free agency first?
We can probably start with the draft. I mean, as far as free agency, it was we can get to that. But so pretty much they got like they drafted Dyson Daniels early in the first.
Alonzo Ball, disciple clone.
Yeah, and from what I was seeing in the preseason, I didn't know. Like I knew they said his defense was good, but like he's swarming with Alvarado.
He's 6'8".
And Herb. Like he has the size, but that defense, I thought last year they were annoying to teams because you're like throwing out a lineup of like you got Alvarado who's like sneaking behind people for steals. You got Herbert Jones, who's just a big body. He's blocking, can shift his feet. You got I think it's Trey Murphy, who's shooting and also still plays defense. And then you throw in a 6'8" PG with vision, who probably might not have the scoring acumen yet, but is also locked in defensively. Like, then you bring back Zion. God, like, what is it's? They got a lot going on over there. CJ.
No, they have a lot of very good players, like you said.
Yeah.
I mean, Dyson's going to play because of his defensive ability off rip. That's what that's going to be. So Dyson's going to play. Alvarado's going to play. Devontae will probably be the odd man out.
Yeah.
More than likely, because he's just a smaller guard, so it's not going to take up any of Herb Jones or Trey Murphy's minutes. But I mean, he's got value around the league. They can move him for something. I don't know. I mean, I don't really think they need anything right now. That's also the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, they have guys who can pass the ball, and Dyson Daniels and potentially Alvarado. They've got defenders, Dyson Daniels, Troy Murphy, Herb Jones, all of those things. They also drafted EJ Liddell as well. So I mean, shit. I mean, he might be he might come in as a steal because he kind of. Actually, no, I'll take that back. Excuse me, my mistake. They did draft EJ Liddell, but he's hurt. He's done. So never mind.
Yeah, but they did get a Darius Lebron though, who I think he went to New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
New Mexico. I looked at his highlights too, and if he does play, he kind of does offer probably that type of surprise factor as far as like from a value pick perspective. That a Liddell, probably not from a post perspective, but as far as like a dog on the court that you can throw out there, and he will probably mesh with the majority of the lineup that you throw out there. They got some guys that like very much embody what they're looking for. They're young and kind of like how they looked at it with like a BI, where his development once it reached like a certain level, a BI was cooking. Like it's their development team is actually pretty underrated as well.
Man, listen. Yes, but also no. At least on your point that I kind of disagree with it, mainly because I don't really think they developed BI that much. I think that BI was always that cold. I think that BI has been put in a situation where, he came in rookie year, LeBron shows up, basically takes your position. Not to say that they play the same way, but like they're both going to be like wing ball handling scorer type players. Like BI's like that, bro. Like he came and like people were calling him, comparing him to KD coming out of Duke for a reason. 6'9", can move, can shoot, athletic, can defend, long as hell. Like BI is on that to me. And I'm gonna say it. I feel like I said this before. I said this last year before they played the Suns, and he showed everybody. I said BI is in that same level as a Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, all of them. He's on that same level.
Yeah.
And you can pull up the receipts because I said it. He's on that same level, bro.
Yeah.
And we saw it. Bro was dropping 30 balls, being unguardable, getting to his spots with ease, dictating the game with his scoring. Like having the team run through him and the focal point run through him, and they were successful. I mean, in relativity, they made the playoffs and they took the number 1 seed to 6 games. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
you add Zion to that with another year of development for your young guys, as in Troy Murphy, Herb Jones. You add Zion to that, all NBA walking Zion. Now, don't get me wrong. I have been very guilty of cracking jokes about Zion in the past when he was hurt.
Yeah.
Not about his injury, but just about his weight. And I had concerns about things of that nature. However, since the start of this all season, you can see that he is committed to getting himself in shape. He looks incredibly lean. He looks locked in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He looks like it really looks like his rookie year of Duke as far as like size wise. So, I think it's gonna be scary, man. He looks like he has his burst back as far as like quickness. Not to say that he ever like really lost it, but like it looks like it's optimal now again.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's back to I think he's gonna be back to just being too quick for guards and or too quick for bigs and too strong for guards and wings.
Oh yeah,
So
because he's definitely getting back into the bully stage as far as he's just mowing down. you're not getting a charge when you're dealing with somebody that big. It's just you better brace for impact, and he's finishing for an and one on a decent amount of time. He's gonna finish for an and one. So
yeah, anybody. It's not too many people you stick in front of that and expect to get a favorable outcome for you as a defender. So this team, I still think that the focal point should be ran through Brandon Ingram because he's like the rhythm scorer. He's going to be the closing scorer, like the guy with the ball in his hands.
yeah,
And just the way that Zion plays, like he's a play finisher. Like yeah, hey, they had that point where they had him playing point guard, and he can pass a little bit, and he has the ability, but like his strength lies in like his finishing around the rim, just his bully ball ability to just be able to just finish at all points around the rim, get to his spot, and just have nobody be able to stop him. He's perfect for finishing plays. So
yeah. Like for
it
him to be
doesn't
like
make
their
sense.
change of pace guy, where say if they're running a lineups where like say they're ripping and running because of defensive stops, and then like those possessions where you want to like slow it down, say, all right, get Zion a back down or catch Zion on a cut. Like I feel like that is more or less where like you said like those it's more of his wheelhouse to where you don't really put you obviously like you say you can pass, but you don't want to put that much into it because Bi needs a rhythm, CJ needs a rhythm, and I feel like that kind of will work in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying just because having the offense run through Brandon doesn't mean that like Zion's not going to get his isolation touches or anything like
Yeah,
that. It's more so just kind of like you said, like you're allowing like I said before, for me, with how I form my opinions on these things, I feel like it's always about optimizing your talent. And if you're going to have Brandon Ingram and you're going to have Zion Williamson, which they both are, they're there. Like I know people have been talking about, do you keep Brandon over Zion or vice versa, whatever. I mean, after Zion's crazy second year, that was gone, and he's Zion Williamson. He's not going to get traded. And then after Brandon did what he did last year, that's gone. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to get traded. These two guys, they're going to keep these two guys because they have both shown that they can be building blocks and the best players on playoff level teams, in my opinion. Zion just because of his unique talent, and Brandon because he showed us. So, yeah, I think it's just about optimizing talent, man. And when you're in a situation in the playoffs, if you need a bucket, you're not gonna go to Zion more than you're gonna go to Brandon Ingram, in my opinion.
yeah,
At least I don't think so. I mean, you can. I mean, Zion can definitely get his looks and have plays run for him, but like if I need somebody to hit a ISO midi, it's not gonna be Zion.
yeah.
So
like if anything, they'll probably give Zion like for situations where like you need that go ahead rolling free throw potentially like inducing play. Of course, like you give it to Zion. There's very situational, like there's varying situations where you can put the ball in either player's hands and you have the potential of something good coming out of it. So
yeah, for sure. All I know is Willie Green better make it work. You got way too much talent. No,
yeah,
seriously, you had a lot of talent last year. with Brandon Ingram and CJ and those two rookies. Those two rookies are going to get better, and you're adding Zion back, and you drafted some good. You drafted a good player as well. It's a lot of talent, man. I don't think it's necessarily easy because the Zion and Ingram fit was already kind of interesting, but hey, it's your job to make it work. And for me, this is my surprise team. I got them as 3 seed.
Okay.
It's gonna. I mean, winning games in the regular season and all that good jazz is going to matter to them. It always matters to young teams. You know, Zion hasn't been on the court all year. Brandon Ingram hasn't played with Zion all year. CJ never played with Zion Williamson. You know what I mean? Like, and these young guys want to prove themselves. They're going to play. So they're gonna be up and down, and it's gonna be a lot of fun, and they're gonna win a lot of games, in my opinion. If they don't, it's gonna look bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could definitely see. I definitely see them potential. Like if they finish in that top 5, like I said earlier, shoot, the Grizzlies to an extent were kind of that team last year, where as far as like Ja taking that next step and the circumstances of like the Western Conference at that time, they managed to secure that top seed. And the Pelicans, even though it might not be in that same circumstance at this current visual moment, those, like you said, those guys are gonna play. They played hard against the Suns in a series that people probably didn't even expect, you know, them to look like they even had like the Suns had a worry and doubt. And Herb and them boys was getting in Chris Paul. So it's definitely gonna be like they got experience. They got guys that embody that defensive up and down rip type of mentality, and now they gotta just put it all to work.
Facts. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and that's I guess. Well, I guess that wraps it up for these two divisions. I think the last two we have are. Wait, so what?
Yeah, for the Central and the Southwest. Yep.
Yeah, so I think now we have left is Southeast and Pacific, I believe.
You know it's the South. You know what it is.
Yeah, which should be
You know what that Pacific is. Don't act like you don't know. Don't act like you don't.
I say, you know.
Hey, ain't nothing but a goat in that division. You come on now. You act like you know. Come on now.
You know, Brown over there got the gang. You know,
ain't nothing but two top teners in there. You already know. Come on now. Act like you know. One top tenor and a fringer, depending on who you ask. But yeah, definitely in there. Yeah, you know. For sure.
John Wall. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, John Wall for the Clippers. That should be
Should be very good. They are all 5 of these teams should be very competitive.
Yeah, all of them. Even we're gonna get into it, like the Kings looked good.
They have De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, and Keegan Murray, a very talented rookie, and Davion Mitchell.
Man.
So yeah, they should be competitive. I mean, it's time for them to try to fight for a playoff spot. Because I mean, this is the year. I mean, you got a full year with your 2 All-Star level players. If you can't get it done, then it should blow it up already. Then there's nothing else to see. I'm being serious. Like I don't need to see a bunch. If I can't get to the playoffs with these 2, then I don't need to just keep running it back. Might as well just blow it up. Trade De'Aaron Fox, trade Sabonis, and start over.
Yeah.
Plenty of teams that'll take De'Aaron Fox right now.
No, yeah, for sure. But yeah, we got all that stuff coming your way pretty soon. But till then, appreciate you guys for watching. Also, as always, you can follow the podcast and all the tweets and updates about what goes on at Going for 3 Pod and the Instagram. I believe it's the same, right? Going for 3 Pod on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple reels coming at y'all as well at some point. Where can the fine people follow you at?
Yeah, they fine people can follow me at Chris D. Collins. And on Instagram and Twitter.
Yep, and as always, at PTP_99 for your boy on Twitter. Once again, we appreciate you guys for listening, and we will see you guys on the next one.